Saturday, ink lovers, and welcome back to my studio. Today I'll be sharing days 4 through 9 of my Afropunk collection, along with a little bit of my thought process for each of these pieces. But before I get into that, how are you guys doing? Everybody still on track so far? Or have any of you fallen behind? I have admittedly been having kind of a hard time. I think with all the fires that have happened in California and being so close now in Phoenix, I've actually just been having a really hard time with my asthma, and I think the lack of oxygen has just been making me super tired. So doing these every day has been a little tough, but so far I'm still on track. I did want to add the 10th day today to this video, but I knew that wasn't going to happen along with editing a video, so I kind of have plans to take the weekend off. The air quality here is a little bit better than it's been for the past week, so I actually am going to just take advantage of the opportunity to get outside and get a little bit of sun, because it's cooled down and I can actually breathe, so I'm going to do that. It kind of sucks because I know the whole challenge is 31 drawings in 31 days. I do still have every intention of doing 31 drawings, but honestly, I don't think it's worth it to sacrifice my physical and mental health for it, so I'll just be continuing on after the month of October is over. But regardless, I hope that you're all happy and healthy and treating yourselves well. I know it's really easy to kind of get down on yourself about things like this, but it is what it is. If you're like me and you've fallen behind or you're planning to fall behind, don't beat yourself up about it. It's supposed to be a fun challenge, so if it stops being fun, then you need to kind of reevaluate like I'm doing, and just trying to remember that I'm trying to learn new skills and just let it be a good experience. That disclaimer being said, if you're following over on Instagram, I've been posting daily photos of the pieces as I finish them, and you probably noticed that the first 7 days I've been using my inks very similarly to the way that I use watercolor, creating shadow and value using washes. And I should mention, I went back to using my Blick hot press watercolor paper just because I was able to get a lot smoother washes with paper that I was used to than the fluid watercolor paper. I also noticed that the Dr. P.H. Martin's white ink is actually reactivatable with water. So I made a little bit of a mistake with the ink in some of the splatter, and then I realized that I could lift and fix things, which actually worked out really well. And I'm really glad that I started with this kind of very familiar technique, just because I was already having kind of the energy struggle, and I think if I had to deal with that and doing a technique that I was a little bit less familiar with, it probably would have just been way too much. So I was able to kind of just work and not have to overthink what I was doing for the first 7 days, and I'm really happy with the way that they all turned out. For the start of this next week, I'm focusing on using just the inking lines and line weight to create kind of interest in the illustration. So I'm very used to relying on the ink washes and just having to make a piece interesting with the line weight I don't know, for some reason I was kind of worried about it not being interesting enough, but I'm actually finding it really striking. I was actually able to kind of reacquaint myself with the Micron brush nib in like day 5 and 6, so I wasn't super nervous, but I was kind of nervous, just because I don't really have time to redo these, so this is like, I just went for it, and I'm really happy with how, especially this first one, these first two that I've done anyway, have turned out better than I expected them to. And I'm really happy to be able to have the metallics as kind of a contrast for all of the pieces. I think it adds something, I don't know, really special to them. I just wish that you could see it better in the video. That it doesn't show how like vibrant and striking they are. But if you, again, head over to my Instagram page, you can see them a little bit more in motion, just moving the pieces back and forth to see kind of how bright they can be. It's funny to take a picture of these once I'm like, when I'm in the studio and I'm in the middle of inking, it looks so dark, almost like the ink is black, but then when I go outside to take a photo of them, the lines are so bright purple that I'm like, it looks totally different to me. But it's interesting to see them change once you add the metallics and see it all in the sun. They don't see things the same. 2 by 2 out the door. There you have magic. Since I know that I won't be doing very much in the way of washes, and I kind of want to limit myself so that I don't want to allow myself to use washes to kind of depend on for the rest of Inktober, I'm going back to the fluid watercolor paper because I know it's not going to handle the washes the way that I want it to, and even just doing these little bars was really annoying because I couldn't get it as solid as I wanted it. But I was like, okay, it's not about the washes, it's about the line work. So I try not to let myself overthink it too much. As far as the metallic for this piece in particular, it's definitely more of a lavender, so it obviously works well with the darker purple, where it has kind of like a peachy pink undertone that I thought was really cool, and it actually creates like a very interesting, almost like blush tone along her cheeks in a second that I really enjoyed. Yeah, I just love these metallic colors. They came out super cool. But this one is already day 9, so it's the last one that I have for you today. As always, I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll also be kind of switching up my technique each week, so stay tuned for that. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out my previous Inktober videos. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and all that other good stuff if you enjoyed this video. Lastly, remember to be good to yourselves, guys. I love you for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Bye!